Hello everybody, it's Tuna. I wanted to show a strategy that I've been running for the past 2 days, and it involves running the Growing Hordes Keystone. I really like this Keystone because we can actually buy all the cheapest scarabs on the market, which currently there's plenty of, and on top of that, we're able to just get a ton of pack size, which synergizes really well with something like Expedition and Harvest and other mechanics. So I'm currently only running it with Expedition, as I want to slow down my maps as least as possible and get as many altars as possible. So that's also something I want to talk about. The Growing Hordes will also buff your altars indirectly, because altars actually spawn more frequently if you have more pack size in your maps. That is because there's sort of like a percent chance that every time you kill an influence monster to spawn, and so you get a ton of altars that way. And another reason as to why we want to be running pack size is because in mechanics like Expedition, we can get additional runic monsters, and if you do wish to run Harvest, you can also get a ton more life force doing it that way, with extra pack size and of course quantity as well. And also the amount of maps that drop, but currently strands are quite expensive. So, this is currently my Atlas. If you just want to get the Atlas passive tree and, be on your merry way, I'm going to link that in the description. But, yeah, I just wanted to explain some things about pack size as well and how it interacts with altars, and why I wanted to run Searing Exarch altars. Searing Exarch is the only altar that actually drops mapping currency at the moment. He drops Awakened Sextants, Chisels, Val Orbs, all that kind of stuff. Whereas the Eater of Worlds does have a high chase, divine sort of drop chance thing. But aside for that, it's very lackluster. It doesn't have much other stuff, so you will be needing to buy your supplies if you do run Eater Worlds. But if you do run Uber Eats, you're actually going to be sustaining all of those things. You're going to be sustaining Chisels, you're going to be sustaining Vials, Sextants, and all that kind of stuff. And you're going to have excess as well to sell, of course, which we'll get into a little bit later. Yeah, okay, so Searing Exarch, grants a ton of currency that you can just sell and also use. And on top of that, it also has like a very high chase item as well, which is the divination cards that it drops. So it has divination cards that drops unique jewelry and unique corrupted jewelry. And as you know, there's a lot of div cards that give, Mage Blood, corrupted Mage Blood, and Headhunters. So that is the ultimate chase for Searing Exarch. So it's not like only Eater of Worlds has a high chase. It's also Searing Exarch, and that shrine is actually quite common in comparison to the Divine Shrine, of course. The Divine Shrine is more like 1 in 1,000 maps you'll be able to get the Divine Shrine, whereas in Searing Exarch, literally every map you get something good, and it sort of multiplies off of itself. So my Atlas is quite focused around blocking as many mechanics as possible. That is because I want to get as much Expedition as possible. So essentially, because of the high chance of spawning mechanics now, if you do block mostly everything that you don't want, you will be getting a ton of the mechanic you want to run. You see that I am blocking pretty much literally everything, and in turn I'm getting Expedition almost like once every, I would say like 3 out of 4 maps I have an Expedition. Additionally, I am running Essence, but that is completely up to you what you want to run. Extra mechanics. I might actually try doing some Harvest today instead of Essence. But yeah, essentially essences are very expensive right now, so I figured I would just chuck that on as an extra. But there is, there's some leeway to do whatever you want with this tree. That is just by dropping all of the essence nodes, and going about it that way. So I just want to show like a little mapping showcase and what it looks like to run these maps. Essentially, what I do with my maps is I just chisel and I alch and I val, and I have a ton of maps rolled that way. Over here, you can see I just chisel, alch, and val. Of course, some of them are huge, like 8 mods, and some of them are not. But that's besides the point. I do keep my unidentified maps aside because I do sometimes roll sextants like this. This. So pack size in your unidentified maps, and so I will use that on these unidentified maps. For sextants, I use basically the sextants that I drop, and I will just use 1 sextant on each watch zone. And if there is a sextant that is actually really valuable, like for example, like Conquer maps dropped by bosses, or Mirror of Delirium, so on and so forth, I will use a compass on that, and I store it and I sell it. If you do wish to know the prices for sextants and things like that, there is a channel in the Forbidden Trove Discord, which gives you the prices of all the bulk compasses in softcore trade. You can see that, for example, like boss drops Conquer maps is 1 divine, breach belongs to Chayula is 100C, expedition runic markers is 90, etc, etc. And yeah, you can go through this list to make sure that you're basically gonna be keeping the sextants that are worth it, and you just be running sextants that give you additional monsters. So yeah, additionally, I will use basically any rusted scarab that I drop. Searing Exarch drops a ton of rusted scarabs, so yeah, you can see here that I could just get a shit ton of rusted scarabs, and I will use the very, very cheap ones, so like Metamorph, for example, Bestiary. All of these are about half a chaos each, and you can also buy them in bulk for half a chaos each. People will basically pay you to buy them off them. Shaper Scarab is another one. Rusted Divination Scarab, of course. So any of these very, very cheap scarabs, which there is a ton of, those are the scarabs that you do want to use on your mapping strategy. You can actually go all the way to polished or gilded, but for the current strategy that I'm doing, I just wanted to have like a cheap mapping method, and as much speed as I could do, so I could just basically buy in bulk all of these scarabs, or additionally just run off the ones that I have already dropped myself. So yeah, make sure that you price the scarab, maybe check on PoE Ninja, see which ones are cheap, buy them in bulk, or just use the scarabs that you have dropped. So I do take Shaping the Valleys and Shaping the Seas. Shaping the Valleys is important for this strategy because we get a lot of pack size from that. That is an additional 10% pack size and quantity and rarity. So what that means is I will be running Fortune Favors the Brave, which is 3 chaos per map, which is extremely valuable because we have a lot of really good modifiers on our maps. So every single one of these is actually going to net us more than 3 chaos per map, especially the Beyond and Domination and so forth. So yeah, you just basically put that on your map device. Fortune Favors the Brave, and you just slap a map in, and you will see that this has a 26 pack size, and if I run it, it will have around about maybe 55 or so with the scarabs and with the effective modifiers up the top. So you can see that is a 63 pack size map turned from a 23. So essentially what we've done is we've put in a a relatively bad rolled map, and we've turned it into an absolute juicer. So I did want to kind of run a map to sort of show you what it's like and how many altars I will spawn in a map. As soon as we get Searing Exarch, this is when you start noticing that the density, and we'll start getting a bunch of altars here. So usually you actually get one as soon as you spawn Exarch, and then they will sort of stack up as you clear. And I did proc Beyond for my Fortune Favors the Brave, which is actually really good because Beyond gives you a ton of the tainted currency is what it's called, right? And those sell for quite a bit. So what is it? The fusing is 30 chaos, and yeah, the chromes are 4C each in bulk. So definitely some money there. I would say that we are actually on the unlucky side here in terms of altar spawns. Usually you would get a ton, but it is quite RNG, of course. But as you can see, there's a ton of monsters in my maps, dropping a ton of loot as well. And altars that you want to look for is sort of depending on, it sort of depends on whether you have gotten your expedition already or not. If you haven't yet gotten your expedition in your map, you want to get quantity for the most part, quantity and rarity. That's because that's going to multiply the amount of loot that you get from the expedition. But if you haven't yet, so if you have already gotten your expedition, then you just basically grab anything that's worth it. So map drops are always good because that's going to help us with our sustain, and it's going to give us extra rewards. Sextants is one that you want to actually absolutely prioritize. Chaos Orbs as well. And of course, I didn't read the downside, and I got Meteord, so that's great. For the purpose of the video, I'm actually just gonna put a new map in so that you can get a grasp of what it looks like again, so I don't have to run all the way back. That's kind of embarrassing, but you know how it is. So actually, that is actually one downside that I want to talk about with Searing Exarch, is that the Meteor is literally the worst modifier that you can possibly get in these maps. So and it's kind of funny because it's very rare, and it doesn't really happen often. But yeah, it happened that time, of course, when I'm recording. but such is life. So here we go, we got 2 altars. We have one that drops binding orbs from the boss, which is not very good, but we have one that drops quantity. So we will take the quantity. Here we have the 2% for chaos orbs, which is a very good modifier. So that means that all of these monsters are now going to have a 2% chance to drop chaos orbs. And you'll see that if we do stack that with maybe like duplicate currencies or something like that, we will drop a ton of chaos orbs this map. But by far the best one I would say is Sextants. The Sextant one is insane. So divination cards that reward a unique weapon is not very good. We are looking for the jewelry one or the corrupted jewelry. I mean, we'll take that anyways because it's basically free. Yeah, the running cost for these maps is very, very low, and you can actually run a ton of them per hour. So that's why I really enjoy this mapping strategy. I can just basically just chuck maps in and not worry about anything. And yeah, I run a ton of maps, and they're really fun as well. They would give a lot of XP if you didn't click the Meteor shrine, but yeah, I have like reading comprehension issues, I suppose, and I generally always click the bad shrine, especially when I'm trying to give a showcase to the boys. Yeah, I mean, you can see that it's a crazy amount of chaos orbs, even if it's a 2% chance. Here we did get a rusted bestiary scarab and a gas blower's baubles. So baubles are terrible, but bestiary scarabs are great because this is actually gonna help us sustain our scarab pool. So I mean, if you get that like at the start of the map, and then you can actually get shrines that duplicate the amount of scarabs that you drop, you're gonna get a ton of scarabs by the end of your map. Meaning that like you basically just self-sustain your rusted scarabs. It's very, very nice. I haven't had to buy rusted scarabs for a while now. So yeah, that is basically a mapping showcase, a really quick and dirty one, I suppose. We got 13C from that map in raw currency, and I would say this is on the very, very low end. And on top of that, we actually didn't get an expedition at all. So this is actually what I got from maybe like a couple hours farming yesterday. You can see that I got a crazy amount of burial medallions, exotic coinage, astrogalies and scrap metals, and a ton of logbooks. That's because the expedition monsters will drop a shitload if you have a lot of quantity and pack size. So that is something to maybe keep in mind, that you will have to sort of learn how to navigate yourself through the remnants on expeditions, because expedition is kind of key to the strategy and making a ton of currency. But yeah, you can see that from a bad map, I did get a ton of chaos as well. So there is literally no way that you won't profit from this strategy. It is easy, it is fast, and it is very enjoyable. I'll talk a little bit about the Atlas, which some things I might have not said. The very important aspects to the Atlas are the top hat, so increased modifiers of non-unique maps. This is because all of this will increase our quantity and our pack size in our maps. So that is very essential to maybe getting the most out of your expeditions or your harvests, etc. Another thing is we want Wrath of the Cosmos. That is because we'll have a chance for an additional upside on our altars, meaning we can stack more benefits, more upsides, but it also means that you will stack more downsides, and downsides will also have an additional effect, right? So they'll have additional downside effect. So that means that things can get quite nasty. You might have to actually look out for the Meteor Shrine, as you saw. So that is one thing. I do take Saiyans. That's because Saiyans, if you do roll Sextants and you get a Tormented Betrayer Sextant, you can just run it. You don't have to worry about it. So that's an extra scarabs, maybe uniques and maps that you get from that Sextant itself. Additionally, I do like getting a Light of Dawn. That is very important because you do want to get as many altars as possible. An extra chance to get that first altar is very good. I run Singular Focus, meaning we're not really going to be dropping Conqueror maps, etc. But this is really going to help us with our sustain. I have a ton of maps sitting right here. As you can see, these are already rolled ones. And on top of that, I do get a ton more that drop. So I have like 14 sitting here for when I do my next session. And yeah, once we run all of these, we'll basically have like about 60 maps. So that'll be some excess that we can sell, and some that we can roll. I do really like taking map nodes as many as possible, because maps are expensive, as I said, and I love being able to just sustain everything. So you can see that strand maps are currently 6C. If you were to sell these in bulk, you could maybe get away with 7C. That is honestly kind of insane how expensive they are. So definitely something to grab. And yeah, the last thing that you want to do is, you know, block as many mechanics as possible. If maybe you do want to run Harvest, then obviously you can unblock Harvest. It's completely up to you. You will get like a little bit less chance to get expeditions, but it is absolutely worth it if you do want to run Harvest. That pretty much sums it for the tree. I gotta say, it's quite simple. Aside from that, actually, like this, gotta mention the sextants. So you do absolutely want to get this because nobody's gonna want to be buying a 3-charge sextant. So absolutely use this. It's very important to have this if you want to roll your own sextants. So make sure to grab that. And yeah, this pretty much sums up the atlas. I will have a link to my atlas in the description, but make sure that you know, if you do want to maybe change some things around, play around with this atlas, you know, you don't have to do exactly as I do, but the things that I did just mention, I think, are the things that are pretty essential. So maybe grabbing all the expedition nodes, many of those as possible, all of the chance, blocking as many mechanics, the map nodes, the Exarch nodes, the top hat, and the sextant nodes, as well as the keystone, of course. Yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. It's just a quick little dirty rundown. You know, it's a one-take wonder. Not really the most high-quality content, but I hope that this helps make you some currency. You know, maybe get you some fun. And I hope you guys have been having a fantastic league. I've been, you know, ignoring the league mechanic for the most part, but I think the new atlas has sort of brought a lot of freshness back into the game for me. I'm having a lot of fun mapping, and I'm really loving my build. And yeah, just exploding packs and running through maps. It's been great. So if you do want to check out the content, you know, I'm live on Twitch every day, like literally every day. You can come say hello. I'll link that in the description as well. And if you did like the video, you know, drop a comment, a like. Tell me maybe what you did this league, how your league start went, how many divines you dropped. You know, I'm interested to hear what you guys have been up to. So yeah, thanks chat. Thanks everybody. Love you guys. Have a good day. Appreciate it.